Everyone on the internet in the gun community has told you that you probably need a Mantis X to dry fire, train, and practice around the house. This week on Randy Reviews It, we find out if it's good for anyone. Prepare for the bloodbath, stick around, grab some popcorn, and enjoy. Let's show you how this works. That was 4 trigger pulls that it counted as 10. GG, Mantis. GG. Hey everyone, Randy Reviews It here. This week we talk about the Mantis Dry Fire Training System. Currently it's mounted on a Beretta PX4 that I like to use because of the double action on it. Now you're saying, Randy, did you spend $99 to show us if the Mantis is worth it? No, I didn't. Randy, did you spend $169 on the X3 Mantis to tell us if it's worth it? No, I didn't. Randy, did you spend $249 on the Mantis X10 Elite to tell us if it's worth it with all the features that they offer? Yes, I did. And I totally regret it. So I bought the Mantis X10 Elite specifically because this one offers shotgun and archery on top of live fire, and just to go through the different levels. So the Mantis X2 gets you dry fire for pistol and carbine. The Mantis X3 gives you the live fire option with kind of that recoil meter, which is one of the things I really want. And the X10 Elite allows you to add shotgun and archery. It comes with some stickies, some things like that. So I wanted to make sure that I got the full featured version of this to give it a fair review. So the best way to describe this Mantis X10 Elite is it's the equivalent of a treadmill. And I'm probably the perfect person for this metaphor, is if you're already walking for free outside, a treadmill makes 0 sense to you. But if you will walk more because you buy a treadmill, then maybe you should pick that up. And that's the same with this Mantis dry fire training. If you're already dry fire training on your own, I see almost no value in this, especially this one, the pistol one. And we'll get into some of their other offerings later. But there's almost no value in this. So, to explain my experience, this is the second Mantis X10 Elite that I've had. The first one was DOA last weekend when I tried to film some recoil measuring, which is one of the reasons I bought it, is to bring you guys better videos and actually measure muzzle rise on my guns so that you can get an accurate depiction of, when I say recoil feels soft, do the results actually support that? So I bought the Mantis mainly for the recoil meter, but also to see what the dry fire training is. So what the Mantis X actually measures is essentially trigger jerk. So if you don't jerk the trigger, you're going to have a higher score in the Mantis X system. But if you jerk the trigger, it's going to show you which direction you're jerking your trigger and why, and how to fix it potentially. So if you're already doing dry fire and you kind of know, like, oh man, I pulled that one, or I'm using a little bit too much trigger finger, or any of those things, this is not going to do anything for you. In fact, when I got this, all it did was reassure me that I was doing everything I thought I was doing right, and about how good it was. Like, oh, that was a really good trigger pull. Oh, hey, it even says it on my phone now. So it was just confirming what I already knew. So I practice dry fire probably like 3 times a week. I try, like during meetings and stuff like that. I work from home. So I practiced already before I got the Mantis. So I got the Mantis and I hook it up and it really just measures your trigger jerk. There's no lasers, you know, it doesn't measure like, did the sights actually like hit what you wanted with like a laser or anything like that. It's just, this fits on the bottom of the gun. You connect it to your phone. You tell your phone how it's oriented, and then it measures your trigger pull. And measures is a rough word for this because 5% of my trigger pulls, it was detecting something different. And I'd go 97, 95, 97, 3. Like, it wasn't detecting things correctly. Like, the sensor, 1 out of 20 times is going to mess up. So it's not a great measuring tool, and that even goes for the recoil meter. So I took the Mantis X to the range a few times already now to try out the recoil meter, and each time I've had issues with it. So the last time it just died, it just randomly died, wouldn't turn on or anything. Mantis is like, here, send it, we'll ship you a new one, send yours back. Okay, so no questions asked, they sent me one. And I gotta mail my other one back yet. But before that too, with the recoil meter, it was like measuring like everything. So let's say you'd shoot the gun. If you didn't hit stop on the recoil meter before you set the gun down, sometimes it would detect that as recoil and it would record that and it would throw everything off. There's a couple times it didn't detect shots. I don't know if I was keeping the gun steady enough, if it was just too low recoiling, if there's like a time or cadence in between that you should do that. But yeah, it wasn't detecting things. So the detection on this isn't that great. Like, they give you like a daily challenge that says get like 10 shots above 95 score as your daily challenge. Well, that took me a bit because it kept ruining the detection. Once in a while, there'd be like a 3 or a 7 or something weird, and it would throw off, and it was kind of like maddening on some of the challenges. The thing that surprised me about it is with these double action guns. So it's like you feel the longer pull and everything feels fine, and you're like, I can't be shooting this as good as a striker fire or a single action or anything like that. But it did reassure me because I know that I shoot this very well. I've seen it print on paper and targets and things like that. In double action, I do well. This just reassured me that I shoot just as well, almost with the double action pull, as I do the single action when I take my time, that sort of thing. So, like I said, it just reassured me of things. If you're already dry firing, it's not worth it in any way, shape, or form. Let's talk about where it might be worth it. So if you're not dry firing at all, this might be worth it to you. It might get you into it. The other thing it's kind of fun for is like almost like a Mario Party, a competing thing. So you can get actual scores, feedback from your phone, and you can compete with friends. Okay, I got a 97. See if you can beat that. So that's kind of fun. But you have to, 1, have friends, 2, have friends that want to dry fire, and then 3, like, practice safe gun handling while you're doing it. Please practice safe gun handling. So those are good. The one thing I did see is, like, right as I got this and started testing it, Ben Stoger hilariously caved in to the internet, and apparently he bought the Mantis system, but he bought the Blackbeard, which the Blackbeard to me actually makes sense because what it does is it goes in your AR, replaces the bolt carrier group and the charging handle, and then you put this little battery mag thing in there, and it resets your trigger. So you can get a feel of rapid firing and doing target transitions with your AR-15 without spending any ammo. Because usually you have to charge at each shot and then move around. Whereas with handguns, especially double action or something like that, you can get that feeling in that transition. And you can practice that without having to buy anything fancy. AR-15s, there's been no way really to reset that hammer each time until the Blackbeard came out, I feel like. So that seems valuable to me, especially if you're doing like pistol caliber carbine. I don't know why you're doing it, but if you're doing it, like working on transitions and getting a feel for that trigger. So the Blackbeard, like laser system for the AR makes sense to me. This does not make sense to me for anyone that's already practicing dry fire. And if you're not already practicing dry fire as a gun owner, I don't know what's going on with you, because it's free, it's great experience, and it pays dividends when you finally go to the range with things. So I definitely recommend, if you're not already practicing dry fire, to do so. There's a lot of like free tips out there from like Stoger and Mike Pannone and all those guys on how to practice dry fire at home, what to do, what to work on, that sort of thing. So practice that. But don't spend your money on something that every gunfluencer told you you needed to train, because it isn't worth it. If you practice dry fire at home, maybe go to a competition or two, you'll be lapping everyone that's been working with this Mantis at home. I guarantee it, because you'll start knowing when you're pulling your shots. You'll start feeling it, and you don't need this to tell you it, because even when this tells you things, it's not that accurate. It doesn't tell you the correct thing every time. In fact, it's maddening how often this has like a false positive detection. So please, by all means, if you think you'll dry fire more because of this, maybe pick it up. But if you're already dry firing, don't waste your money. Ammo's expensive. Buy something else. I know I say that a lot, I feel like, on my videos, but my whole intent of this channel was to prevent people from wasting their money on things that people told them they needed and they didn't. So I made the mistake of buying this so that you don't have to. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.